Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. Mr. Deputy Speaker sir, I think the House will agree with me that the Health Minister, while piloting this bill to us, made a very brilliant and studied presentation and explanation on the various provisions of this bill, and I wish to join other honourable members in congratulating warmly the Health Minister for the initiative and imagination with which he has been dealing with these terrible problems. This is a good measure in the right direction because of the fact that several of the honourable members who have spoken before me have touched on the various aspects of the law. I would rather view this piece of legislation more from human and philosophical angles than from a purely legislative angle. Next, a piece of legislation such as this, which is a social economic legislation, obviously is to be preceded by public opinion. I understand that it is only the pressure of the public opinion which has compelled the government to proceed in the right direction, and they have rightly done. But it is the continuous pressure of public opinion which will make the government find out what are the effective ways and provisions in the legislation and what are the defective things which can be later on removed by further amendments. I hope the government will have a constant eye on how the public opinion reacts to the various legal and penal provisions contained in this measure. The post-war period, particularly since 1945, has been a period of tremendous advances in science and technology. But the trouble is that though science and technology have advanced, that advance is unaccompanied by an equally good advance in spirituality and truth. When science and technology unaccompanied by spirituality and truth go ahead, they create havoc sometimes, and one of the havocs created is what we see today. This adulteration in the spheres of food articles, drinks, etc., this unsocial attitude and profiteering mentality about which the minister made a very right reference in the beginning of a very small minority has a tremendous impact on a big majority. I should say the entire nation. These unsocial and antisocial attitudes and activities have to go, but they cannot be removed merely by legislation. They will ultimately go by the pressures of a very strong and continuously vigilant public opinion and enlightened public opinion all over the country. Next, as I said, I was going to view this piece of legislation from a philosophical angle. I feel that today ours is not only an atomic age, this is also an age of indifference. Coupled with that, we now see that it is the age of adulteration, pollution, an age of abject pollution. We find that citizens, even when their interests are concerned, are not interested in trying to eradicate those dangers or defects. Ultimately, the state cannot go beyond a certain point. It is the citizens' rightful vigilance and active involvement which can really do a lot in terms of eradicating some of these social evils. Do we find adulteration only in food articles or only in drinks? I dare say adulteration and pollution are found these days in each and every field. Take the political field, the economic field, the social field, the educational, cultural, literacy, and even religious field. In fact, no field of human activity is today left out where there is not some kind of adulteration practiced. The trouble, therefore, is that when we are sitting in judgment over those food adulterators, we are forgetting that in every walk of life where we have certain things to project or inject into human activity, we are also responsible for a number of such crimes of adulteration. Therefore, I feel that when we look at this problem, we should not forget to look at this problem in its totality also. When it comes to food and drinks adulteration, I want today that it is not only injurious to health but it means slow and systematic and final death. Death may come at the end, but before it come finally, the man is failing in health, failing in energy and failing in exhibition because of the adulteration. Therefore, I feel that if you want to tackle this problem, then the government must also through this legislation do two things. The minister has already made a mention of it. First is the implementation. Implementation must be quick and speedy. He must guard against possible increase in corruption also, because after all, when the state machinery or any machinery for that matter has to implement, we must not empower that machinery with such powers that the honest and the innocent are harassed. I know the minister himself said in the beginning that undue punishment and harassment will not be done to honest traders in this regard. Therefore, I want that the implementation should be quick and at the same time proper safeguards should be there to see that corruption does not creep in a greater amount. Stop.